Hello everyone, I'm Binesh, PhD candidate from Hospitality School. I'm presenting today Artificial Intelligence Use in Sports Betting for Improved Player Intention Machine-Human Interface. I worked on this project with Dr. Robert Rippey, Dr. Amanda Blarmino, and one of our talented students, Ms. Kim, all from UNLV. First, we'll look at the introduction of this study, followed by the objectives. And then we will look at a brief literature review and hypotheses, followed by methodology and proposed outcomes and implications. So the idea of this study came to me when COVID-19 affected hospitality industry, and we saw a shift towards contactless solutions. The role of technology in the recovery process of hospitality industry, which was the most impacted by the pandemic, was undeniable. But even prior to the pandemic, we've already seen hospitality industry implementing service robots and AI in different settings. For example, in hotel side, Henna Hotel in Kyoto, Japan, at some point relied on 90% robotic staff. We still see some of these properties using service robots in concierge and room service and other areas. Also, check-in kiosks have already been used on airports and hotels, and to some extent in casinos. But the question that came into my mind was that why don't we see much of these technologies being adopted in casinos? So first we have to understand what influences customers' intention to use service robots in casinos. Therefore, afterwards we can tailor these technologies to better serve what they need. Based on that, the following are the objectives of this study: to propose and test a novel model in order to examine customer intention to use service robots in sports betting environment, extend body of literature on robotics in hospitality, to provide practical recommendations for casino managers. This study has borrowed from Service Robot Acceptance Model that you can see in this slide, a work of Wirtz and co-authors in 2018. Their model have adopted from Technology Acceptance Model, the variables that you see on the left side, and also they added social, emotional, and relational elements into the model. However, we needed to adopt and change this model to make it representative of a casino setting environment. For example, we replaced the human likeness of a technology with perceived intelligence, and we added other variables such as wow effect and emotional presence that have been shown to impact customer adoption of different types of technologies such as augmented reality and self-service technology. Another variable that was added into the model is anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism basically means that how human-like the robot is. Previous studies show that human-embodied robots were better received than non-embodied ones. However, after a certain point, this can become a two-edged sword. Uncanny valley theory states that when the robot becomes so human-like, it creates fear and hatred in human subjects. So based on the previous studies, we came up with a new research framework, and we designed it in a way that we will do two studies. The first one is a survey done in MTurk that looks at the human-robot interaction variables: perceived social interactivity, perceived social presence, perceived intelligence, and anthropomorphism, and how they impact trust and use intention among customers. The second study not only looks at these variables, but also uses psychological effect variables. The reason behind that is that in the second study, we will do an actual experiment in which the participant will use their service robot and a kiosk and compare that to a human agent. The psychological effects to be tested in this part are wow effect, emotional presence, and some characteristics such as kind versus cruel and friendly versus unfriendly. Both of the studies will control for technology versus human, need for human interaction, and sports betting experience. Therefore, the following are the hypotheses of the study. Perceived intelligence, perceived social interactivity, perceived social presence, anthropomorphism, why effect, and emotional presence are positively related to use intention of service robots. Also, perceived intelligence, perceived social interactivity, and perceived presence are positively related to trust, and anthropomorphism is negatively related to trust. As I mentioned before, this project will be done in 2 stages. The first study is a survey done in MTurk. The goal is to reach 500 participants who will watch a video of a robot and a kiosk, and then they will answer to some questions, and they will imagine if they were going to place a bet at sports bet, and if they were going to use each of these and how they will react to that. The participant will receive 50 cents per response. In the second study, an experiment will be done with a goal of 50 participants that will place a bet through a robot, a kiosk, and a human agent in a replica of a casino floor. In this case, they will receive $20 per response, and they will use a demo of a sports betting application that have been uploaded on the robot and kiosk. Both of the studies will screen out the participants to make sure they are 21 years and above and have betted on sports in the past 12 months. As for data analysis, partial least squares regression will be used. This study makes numerous contributions to theory. First of all, it proposes a new model other than overly used technology acceptance model. Also, it's an empirical study that addresses one of the possible implications of robotics in casinos. Moreover, it extends our knowledge of robot acceptance in hospitality industry, and it's one of the very few studies that have actually tested the interaction with an actual robot. In terms of practical implications, the outcomes of this study will help to advance the knowledge of the application of robotics and AI in gaming industry, and the outcomes could be used in a casino and by casino managers to better tailor their technology and the use of technology in their properties. The outcomes could potentially have significant implications for revenue enhancement and cost control by casino managers as well. The following is the timeline of this study. We've already received the IRB approval, and we are finalizing programming Pepper the robot. And we will start data collection next month, and we're hoping to finalize the paper and ready it for submission to a top-tier journal in July of 2022. This project is supported by International Center for Gaming Regulations and Blackfire Innovation. Blackfire is a collaboration between UNLV and Caesars Entertainment, and Office of Economic Development located at Blackfire will provide Pepper the robot that you can see in this picture, as well as the kiosk and a replica of a casino floor to conduct the study. To the best of knowledge of the authors, this is the very first study that investigates machine-human interface interaction in a real casino setting to better understand how the customer experience might shape their intention to use robotics and AI in casinos. And finally, in this slide, you see the latent variables that have been adopted and used in this study and their items. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.